The message arrived at 2:17 in the afternoon. Just another ordinary email notification, except this one detonated my entire life. I'm Daniela, and 15 minutes ago, I was mindlessly scrolling through work emails while waiting for my mother-in-law's weekly lunch interrogation about grandchildren to end. Now I'm staring at photos I wish I could unsee. My husband's naked back arched over a woman I recognize from his law firm's Christmas party. Daniela, dear, are you even listening? Maggie's voice cuts through my mental fog. I was saying that at your age, waiting much longer could be risky. My fingers tighten around the phone. The screen shows Ryan and Chloe in his office, on his desk, in a hotel room. Timestamps, dates, locations, all meticulously documented by someone who clearly wanted me to know. I need to use the bathroom, I managed to say, my voice steadier than I expect. The restaurant's bathroom is mercifully empty. I lean against the marble counter, studying my reflection. Same face, same carefully applied makeup, same pearl necklace Ryan gave me for our 5th anniversary. Everything looks identical to an hour ago, yet nothing is the same. My phone buzzes again. Another email from the anonymous sender. Thought you should know. They're planning a weekend in Vegas next month. He's using your joint account to book it. The bathroom door creaks open. Maggie. Of course. Darling, you've been in here for 10 minutes. Are you feeling unwell? I straighten up, tucking my phone away. Just a migraine coming on. Oh, that's terrible timing. Ryan's joining us for dessert. He said he could slip away from work early. Work. The image of his office desk flashes through my mind, and bile rises in my throat. Actually, I should head home, I say, gathering my composure. Rain check on dessert? Maggie's disappointment is palpable. But Ryan, specifically? Tell him I'm sorry. The words taste bitter. Women's troubles. It's the one excuse that always makes Maggie retreat, her traditional sensibilities unable to handle such discussions. She pats my arm sympathetically and lets me escape. In my car, I pull up our bank statement. There it is, a recent payment to a travel agency. The Vegas trip isn't just a threat, it's already in motion. 7 years of marriage, and I never once thought to question his business trips or late nights at the office. My phone rings. Ryan's face appears on the screen, probably wondering why I'm not waiting with his mother for dessert. I let it go to voicemail. Instead, I drive to our house. The perfect suburban home we spent months choosing together. The same house where he promised we'd raise our family. The same house where he's been lying to my face every single day. I park in the driveway but don't get out. Another email notification pings. This time it's a video clip. My thumb hovers over the play button, but I can't bring myself to press it. Some things you can't unsee. The front door of our house looks different now. Behind it lies a life I thought I knew, a marriage I believed in, and a husband who's probably calling me again, wondering why I'm not playing my usual role in his perfectly orchestrated life. I check my rearview mirror and notice my lipstick is still perfectly in place. Funny how some things stay intact while others shatter beyond repair. My phone buzzes again. Another call from Ryan. This time I answer. Let's see how well he lies when I ask about his plans for the weekend. After all, what's one more performance in this theater of deception we call marriage? The game is about to change, and he doesn't even know it yet. 3 days of pretending everything's normal feels like 3 years. I've memorized every detail of Ryan's routine, watching him perform his role of devoted husband with Oscar-worthy precision. The way he kisses my cheek before leaving for work. How he asks about my day while scrolling through his phone. The casual mention of another late meeting. Tonight's performance includes a family dinner at his parents' house. I sit at Maggie's pristine dining table, pushing food around my plate while she chatters about the neighbor's new grandchild. Sarah's daughter had the most beautiful baby shower, Maggie says, refilling wine glasses. Such lovely traditions these days. When are you two finally going to give me some good news? Ryan's fork pauses halfway to his mouth. Mother, we've discussed this. I take a long sip of wine, studying him over the rim of my glass. Actually, I've been thinking about that lately. Maybe it is time we seriously tried for a baby. The silence that follows is delicious. Ryan's face doesn't change, but his knuckles whiten around his fork. Really? Maggie claps her hands. Oh, Tom, did you hear that? Tom glances up from his plate, his eyes moving between Ryan and me. He's always been more perceptive than his wife. That's unexpected, Ryan manages. We should discuss this privately, dear. Why? We're family. I reach for his hand across the table. Unless there's some reason you're hesitant? His fingers are cold in mine. Of course not, just surprised by the timing. Speaking of timing, I turn to Maggie. Did Ryan tell you about his upcoming business trip to Vegas? Vegas? Maggie frowns. You didn't mention... It was just confirmed today, Ryan interrupts. Standard contract negotiation. With Chloe Marshall? The name drops like a stone into still water. I saw her name on the travel booking. Ryan's recovery is impressive, but I catch the slight tremor in his voice. She's handling the real estate aspects. How convenient? I release his hand and stand. Excuse me, I need some air. The back porch is my refuge. Behind me, I hear Ryan making excuses about work stress and hormones, the same tactics he's used for years to dismiss my concerns, paint me as emotional, unreasonable. The porch door opens. It's Tom, carrying 2 glasses of bourbon. Thought you might need this, he says, offering me one. I accept, surprised. Tom rarely drinks and never initiates conversations. You know, don't you? I ask. He leans against the railing, looking out into the darkness. I've known Ryan his whole life. He has his mother's talent for performance, but his tells haven't changed since he was 12. And you never said anything? Would it have helped? He takes a slow sip. Some truths need to be discovered personally to be believed. Inside, I hear Maggie's voice rising, probably defending Ryan against some imagined slight on my part. The perfect son, the successful lawyer, the man who can do no wrong. I received some interesting emails recently, I say. About Ryan and Chloe, with photos. Tom nods slowly. Anonymous sender? Yes. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? He meets my eyes for the first time. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do for someone is to help them see the truth, even if it hurts. Before I can respond, the door opens again. Ryan stands there, backlit by the dining room lights. Mother's serving dessert, he says, his tone carefully neutral. Everything okay out here? Perfect, I reply, finishing my bourbon. Your father was just telling me about your childhood. Apparently, your tells haven't changed much since you were 12. Ryan's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. He glances at his father, who simply walks past him back into the house. We should talk when we get home, Ryan says quietly. About babies? Or about Vegas? I move closer, close enough to smell his cologne. Or maybe about those interesting emails I received? His face pales slightly, but his lawyer's mask stays firmly in place. Whatever you think you know. Save it for the performance inside, I cut him off. I'm not your audience anymore. I brush past him into the dining room, where Maggie's serving her famous apple pie. Time to enjoy the last act of this family charade before the curtain falls. And Ryan? He has no idea that his father just became my most unexpected ally in this unfolding drama. The private investigator's office smells like stale coffee and resignation. Sandra Chen slides photos across her desk, each one a fresh wound in my already bleeding reality. They meet 3 times a week, she says. Usually at the Mayflower Hotel, sometimes at her apartment in Riverside. I pick up a photo of Ryan and Chloe entering the hotel lobby. His hand rests on the small of her back, intimate and possessive. The timestamp shows Tuesday afternoon, the same day he told me he was in court. There's more, Sandra continues, hesitating. Your husband made some interesting financial moves recently. She pulls up documents on her laptop. Bank transfers, property records, a new LLC registration. The numbers blur together, but one detail stands out. A down payment on a condo in Chloe's building. He's planning his exit, I say, my voice hollow. Most cheaters are impulsive. Your husband is methodical. Sandra leans back. He's been moving money for months, setting up a separate life. My phone buzzes. Ryan's mother. Again. I silence it without looking. The Vegas trip next month? I ask. It's not just a weekend getaway. They're meeting with a real estate agent, looking at properties. Of course, building their perfect little life while systematically dismantling mine. The rage I've been suppressing bubbles up, hot and acidic. I need a drink, I announce, standing. There's a bar around the corner. The owner, Mark, he's good people. Tell him I sent you. The bar is nearly empty at 3 in the afternoon. The owner, Mark, looks up as I enter. He's not what I expected. Younger, with kind eyes and an easy smile. Sandra Chen send you? He asks, already reaching for a glass. That obvious? She only sends me the interesting ones. He pours something amber and expensive looking. On the house. You look like you need it. I take a sip. The whiskey burns pleasantly. My husband's building a life with another woman while gaslighting me about having children. Damn. Mark pours himself a shot and raises it. To karma. Karma's too slow. I clink my glass against his. I prefer revenge. He studies me for a moment. You know, I hear things in this bar, including some interesting gossip about a certain lawyer and his real estate agent girlfriend. My glass freezes halfway to my lips. What kind of gossip? The kind that suggests their perfect little plan might have some cracks. He glances at the door as new customers enter. I get off at 8 if you want to hear more. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Ryan. Where are you? Mother's been trying to reach you about dinner plans. I type back, working on our future. You'd know all about that, wouldn't you? His response is immediate. What's that supposed to mean? Another round? Mark asks, noticing my empty glass. Actually, I need to go handle something. I stand, steadier than I expected. But I'll be back at 8. Be careful, he calls after me. People who have everything to lose tend to fight dirty. I drive to Ryan's office, fury and whiskey warming my blood. The security guard knows me, waves me through with a smile. Ryan's secretary tries to stop me. He's in a meeting, but I push past her. The conference room door swings open. Ryan and Chloe jump apart like guilty teenagers, but not fast enough. The other partners around the table freeze in awkward silence. Darling, Ryan recovers first. What a surprise. Oh, don't stop on my account. I smile at the room. I just wanted to see where all our money was going. Nice condo, by the way. The one in Riverside? The color drains from Ryan's face. Chloe drops her pen. We should discuss this privately, Ryan says through clenched teeth. Why? Isn't everyone here in on the secret? I turn to leave, then pause. Oh, and Ryan? Don't bother coming home tonight. I'm changing the locks. As the elevator doors close, I hear the chaos erupting behind me. My phone starts ringing. Ryan, probably damage control, but I silence it. Mark's words echo in my head. People who have everything to lose tend to fight dirty. Good thing I've already lost everything. Now it's my turn to fight back. Mark's bar has become my sanctuary over the past week. Tonight, he slides a manila envelope across the counter before I can even order. Guy came in looking for you, he says. Said he worked with Ryan back in law school. Inside the envelope, I find medical records from 10 years ago. Ryan's name jumps out, along with terms like azoospermia and permanent infertility. The date precedes our marriage by 2 years. He knew. I whisper. All this time he knew. Mark wipes down the counter, giving me space to process. 7 years of fertility treatments, specialists, and Maggie's constant disappointment. 7 years of Ryan suggesting maybe the problem was with me. My phone lights up with Maggie's latest text. Found a wonderful fertility specialist. Dinner tomorrow to discuss? You okay? Mark asks, his voice gentle. He let his mother torture me for years. I drain my glass. While he was perfectly aware we'd never have children. Maybe that's why he started sleeping with Chloe? I laugh bitterly. No, that's just bonus betrayal. The bar door opens. Tom walks in, looking out of place in his expensive suit. I thought I'd find you here, he says, settling onto the stool beside me. Ryan's telling everyone you're having a breakdown. Did he mention he's infertile? That he knew before we got married? Tom's expression doesn't change, but his fingers tighten around his briefcase. No, he failed to mention that detail. How long have you known about Chloe? 6 months. He orders scotch, neat. I confronted him. He swore it was over. And the condo in Riverside? That's new information. Tom takes a long sip. Maggie's planning an intervention. She thinks you're imagining things, having some sort of crisis. Of course she does. Ryan's perfect son would never betray his wife, never lie about something as fundamental as his ability to have children. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Sandra. Need to meet. Found something big. I have to go, I tell Tom, gathering my things. Daniela. He catches my arm. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Ryan's partners are already discussing damage control. Let them try. I pause at the door. You might want to warn Maggie that her perfect son isn't who she thinks he is. Sandra's waiting in her car 2 blocks away. She hands me a tablet without preamble. Remember that LLC I mentioned? It's not just for the condo. She swipes through documents. Ryan's been funneling firm money through it. Lots of money. He's embezzling? Smart way to hide funds from a divorce. Not so smart when you're stealing from your partners. The pieces click together. The late nights, the secret accounts, the sudden interest in real estate. How much? Enough to end his career. Sandra takes back the tablet. Question is, what are you going to do with this information? My phone lights up with another call from Ryan. This time I answer. Where are you? His voice is tight with controlled anger. Mother's worried sick. I'm learning all sorts of interesting things about you, I reply. Like your medical history and your creative accounting. Silence. Then, come home. We can discuss this privately. No, I don't think we will. I watch Sandra pull away into traffic. But I'm sure your partners will have plenty to discuss tomorrow morning. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your email in 5 minutes. I hang up, then forward Sandra's documents to every partner at his firm. Back at Mark's bar, I find Tom still nursing his scotch. It's done, I tell him. He nods slowly. Maggie will never forgive you. I'm not the one who needs forgiveness. I sit down, suddenly exhausted. But I am the one who's going to make sure everyone knows the truth. Mark sets a fresh drink in front of me. To Karma? No, I reply, thinking of the documents now spreading through Ryan's firm like wildfire. To justice. My phone starts ringing again. Ryan's name flashes on the screen, but this time, I simply turn it off. Tomorrow will bring its own battles, but tonight, I've finally taken back control of my story. The law firm's lobby buzzes with barely contained chaos. Partners hurry through security, phones pressed to their ears. Junior associates whisper in clusters, shooting furtive glances my way as I stride past reception. Mrs. Harrison, you can't. The secretary's protest dies as I push open Ryan's office door. He's on the phone, suit jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, the perfect image of a man under siege. I'll call you back, he says, seeing me. Close the door. I do, but not before catching glimpses of security guards moving our way. Quite the morning? I ask, noting the scattered papers across his usually immaculate desk. You have no idea what you've done. His voice is deadly quiet. The managing partners are talking criminal charges. How unfortunate. Almost as unfortunate as lying to your wife about being infertile while watching her endure years of fertility treatments. He flinches, barely noticeable. I was protecting you. From what? The truth? Or from leaving you when I realized you'd never give me children? A knock interrupts us. Through the glass wall, I see two partners waiting. Ryan holds up one finger, buying time. Whatever you think you know, he starts. I know everything. I pull out my phone, showing him the medical records, including how much money you've been stealing. Tell me, does Chloe know she's your exit strategy, or is she just convenient cover? His mask slips, revealing something ugly underneath. You want to play hardball? Fine. But remember, you signed a prenup. You'll leave this marriage with nothing. I laugh, the sound sharp enough to cut. Check Clause 7. Infidelity nullifies everything, and I have proof, Ryan. So much proof. The door opens. Ryan, the SEC is on line 1, his secretary announces. 1 minute, he snaps, then turns back to me. What do you want? Everything. I move closer, dropping my voice. The house, half your assets, and a public admission of what you did. All of it. You're insane. No, I'm angry, and I'm done being your victim. My phone buzzes. A text from Mark. Chloe's here. Says she needs to talk. Important. Security's coming to escort you out, Ryan says, straightening his tie. Don't make this messier than it needs to be. Too late. I head for the door, then pause. Oh, and Ryan? Maggie's waiting in the lobby. I told her everything about your medical history. She's quite eager to discuss grandchildren. The color drains from his face as I walk out, passing the security guards with a smile. In the lobby, Maggie sits rigid in a chair, her perfect posture a shield against the whispers around her. Is it true? She demands, standing. Ask your son about his medical records from 10 years ago. I keep walking, her sharp intake of breath following me out. Mark's bar is quiet this early. Chloe sits at the counter, looking nothing like the polished woman from the photos. Her hands shake as she clutches her purse. Tell her, Mark says gently. Chloe pulls out a plastic stick, a pregnancy test. Positive. It's not Ryan's, she whispers. It can't be. The irony hits me like a wave. All those years of trying, and here sits the other woman, pregnant by someone else while carrying on with my infertile husband. Does he know? She shakes her head. I just found out. But when I saw the news about the firm, I can't be connected to this. My real estate license. My phone lights up with messages. Tom, Sandra, Ryan's partners. The storm I've unleashed is gathering strength. What are you gonna do? Mark asks, his eyes meeting mine in the mirror behind the bar. I look at Chloe, at her trembling hands and smeared mascara. At the test that proves every lie Ryan ever told me. At the weapon that could destroy him completely. That depends, I tell her, sliding onto the next stool. How badly do you want to save yourself? The choice crystallizes before me, complete destruction or calculated mercy. But as Chloe starts to talk, I realize this stopped being about revenge the moment she walked in with that test. Now it's about justice. And justice, I'm learning, is far more satisfying than revenge. The police lights paint our perfect suburban house in alternating red and blue. Two officers flank Ryan on our front porch, while he gestures dramatically, playing the victim perfectly. Behind him, Maggie dabs at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Mrs. Harrison? An officer approaches my car. We need you to step out. I comply, aware of the neighbors watching from behind curtains. 7 years in this community, and now I'm the morning entertainment. Your husband claims you've been harassing him, the officer says. Says you leaked confidential company information and made threats. Interesting. I keep my voice steady. Did he mention the embezzlement investigation? Or his affair? This isn't about that, ma'am. He's filed for a restraining order. The words hit like a physical blow. Of course he has. Ryan always knew how to work the system, how to twist reality until he came out looking clean. I live here, I say. This is my house. Not anymore. Ryan's voice carries across the lawn. The firm's pressing charges, Daniela. Criminal charges. You might want to call a lawyer. My phone buzzes. Sandra. They're freezing your accounts. All of them. Call me ASAP. Mrs. Harrison? The officer's hand hovers near his cuffs. I need you to leave the premises. Maggie steps forward, her perfect mask cracking. How could you do this to us? To Ryan? After everything we've done for you? I laugh, the sound bordering on hysteria. Everything you've done? Like torturing me about grandchildren while your son kept his infertility secret? You're lying. But her voice wavers. Ask him about his medical records from 10 years ago. Ask him about the money he's been stealing. Ask him about Chloe's pregnancy. Oh wait, that's not his either, is it, Ryan? Ryan's face contorts. Officer, she's clearly unstable. You have 30 minutes to pack some belongings, the officer interrupts. After that, you can't return without a court order. I walk past them into the house, their whispers following me up the stairs. In our bedroom, no, his bedroom now, I grab essentials, clothes, documents, the flash drive containing copies of everything Sandra found. My wedding ring catches the light as I reach for my passport. 7 years of lies, compressed into a simple gold band. I twist it off and leave it on his pillow. The officer escorts me out like a criminal. Ryan watches from the porch, his arm around his mother, the perfect son consoling her in this difficult time. Where will you go? Maggie calls out, her voice thick with false concern. I don't answer. My car feels like a cage as I pull away, watching my life disappear in the rearview mirror. Mark's bar is closed this early, but he answers my knock. One look at my face tells him everything. He's trying to have me arrested, I say, dropping my bag. Froze my accounts, filed a restraining order. I can't go home, can't access my money. Breathe. He guides me to a stool. Start from the beginning. There's no beginning anymore, just an end. My hands shake as I pull out my phone. Sandra says they're building a case against me for corporate espionage. Ryan's spinning everything. The affair, the embezzlement, all of it. Making me look crazy. What about Chloe? The pregnancy? She won't help, too scared of losing her license. I laugh bitterly. Turns out revenge just gives him more ammunition. Mark starts to respond, but my phone interrupts. Tom's name flashes on the screen. They're searching your office, he says without preamble. Ryan told the partners you've been stealing company information for months. They're calling clients, warning them about potential breaches. The room spins. My career, my reputation, my home, everything I built, gone in a morning. He's going to win, I whisper after hanging up. He's going to take everything and make me look like the villain. Mark's hand covers mine. Not everything. What's left? The truth. He pulls out a laptop. And the truth has a funny way of demanding to be heard. I stare at the screen, at the blinking cursor waiting for words. Maybe he's right. Maybe when you've lost everything, the only thing left to do is tell your story. And make damn sure everyone hears it. The SEC investigators arrive at Ryan's firm exactly at noon. I watch from Mark's car as they enter the building, followed by local police. My phone lights up with a text from Sandra. "It's happening. Stay ready." "You sure about this?" Mark asks, gripping the steering wheel. Before I can answer, Chloe's silver Mercedes pulls into the parking lot. She spots us and walks over, her designer heels clicking against the asphalt. "They're questioning everyone," she says through the window. "Ryan's telling them I was involved in the embezzlement." "Are you ready to tell them the truth?" She touches her stomach, still flat beneath her silk blouse. I have nothing left to lose. The next hour unfolds like a carefully choreographed dance. Chloe enters first, armed with documents proving Ryan manipulated her real estate licenses for his schemes. Then Tom arrives, carrying files from Ryan's early days at the firm, patterns of behavior stretching back years. Finally, my phone buzzes. Sandra. He's cornered. Now, I walk into the firm's conference room where Ryan sits surrounded by investigators, his perfect facade cracking. He looks up as I enter, and for a moment, I see real fear in his eyes. "Mrs. Harrison?" one investigator says. "Your husband claims you orchestrated this entire situation out of revenge." "Did he also tell you about his medical records?" I place the decade-old documents on the table. "About lying to me for 7 years while I underwent fertility treatments?" Ryan stands abruptly. "This is irrelevant to—" "Or about using Chloe's real estate license to launder firm money?" I continue. "Though I suppose that's complicated now that she's pregnant with another man's child." The room goes silent. Ryan's face contorts. "You're lying." "The pregnancy test is positive," Chloe says from the doorway. "Want to explain how that's possible, given your medical condition?" Ryan lunges for the documents, but an investigator blocks his path. Through the glass walls, I see Maggie arriving, Tom at her side. The audience for Ryan's final performance is complete. "Everything I did," Ryan's voice shakes, "I did to protect this family's reputation, to give Mother the grandchildren she wanted." "By stealing from your partners?" Tom's quiet voice cuts through the room. "By destroying your wife?" "You don't understand!" Ryan turns to Maggie, desperate. "I had to maintain appearances. The family name—" "The family name?" Maggie's voice cracks. "You let me torture that poor girl for years about grandchildren while knowing—" She stops, pressing her handkerchief to her mouth. "Mrs. Harrison," an investigator interrupts, "we'll need your full statement." "Of course!" I meet Ryan's eyes. "I'll tell you everything, about the embezzlement, the affair, the medical records, about how he tried to frame me when I discovered the truth." "Daniela, please." Ryan's mask finally shatters completely. "We can fix this. Whatever you want. The house, money, anything." "I want the truth. All of it. No more lies, no more perfect facades." He slumps in his chair, defeated. Behind him, through the glass walls, I see partners gathering, watching their golden boys fall from grace. "Mr. Harrison," an investigator says, "I think it's time we continue this discussion downtown." As they lead Ryan out, Maggie touches my arm. "I'm so sorry," she whispers. "I never knew." "None of us did," I reply. That was the point. I walk out of the firm for the last time, past the whispers and stares. Mark waits in the car, and beyond him lies a future I never planned for, but now welcome. My phone buzzes one last time. A text from Ryan. "You've destroyed everything." I type back. "No, you did that yourself." I just exposed the truth. Then I delete his number and turn to Mark. "Take me home." "Which home?" he asks. I look at the firm's building, at the life I'm leaving behind. wherever the truth is. He starts the car, and as we pull away, I realize that revenge wasn't what I needed after all. Just the simple, devastating power of the truth. The courthouse steps feel different under my feet today. No more pretending, no more perfect masks. Ryan's sentencing hearing just ended, and the morning headlines already scream about the Golden Boy's fall from grace. I pause at the top of the steps, watching Maggie and Tom hurry to their car, dodging reporters. They've aged years and months, their carefully maintained image crumbling with each new revelation about their son. "Mrs. Harrison!" A reporter shoves a microphone toward me. "Any comment on your ex-husband's sentencing?" Before I can respond, Mark appears at my side. "No comment," he says, guiding me through the crowd. My phone buzzes. A text from Chloe. "Thank you for everything. Baby girl is doing great. She moved across state lines months ago, rebuilding her life far from Ryan's shadow. Sometimes karma works in unexpected ways." "Ready?" Mark asks as we reach his car. "One more stop." The bar is quiet this early. Sandra waits inside, spreading documents across our usual table. The final divorce settlement, the sale of the house, the restoration of my assets. Freedom, quantified in legal terms. "You sure about this?" she asks as I sign the last paper. I glance at the newspaper on the counter. Ryan's face stares back. No longer the confident lawyer, but a man in prison orange, convicted of embezzlement and fraud. "The money's better spent helping others," I say, finalizing the paperwork that will turn our former home into a women's shelter. "Let something good come from all this." Speaking of good things, Mark sets 3 champagne glasses on the table. "A toast?" "To what?" Sandra asks. "To truth," I say, thinking of all the perfect lies that shattered under its weight. "And to letting go." The champagne bubbles tickle my nose, but I don't drink. Can't, actually. Not for another 7 months. Mark's hand finds mine under the table, and I think about the irony. How desperately I once chased the dream of family with a man who could never give it to me, only to find it naturally with someone who never demanded perfection. The door chimes. Tom walks in, looking older without Maggie's carefully coordinated outfits beside him. "I hoped I'd find you here," he says, settling heavily onto a stool. "Maggie's finally agreed to counseling. Seems we all had our parts in enabling Ryan's lies." "How is he?" I ask, though I'm not sure why I still care. "Angry, blaming everyone but himself." Tom sighs. But maybe that's what he needs. Time to face his own reflection without anyone smoothing over the cracks. Sandra gathers her papers, sensing the shift in conversation. As she leaves, she squeezes my shoulder, a gesture that says more than words could. "I wanted to give you something." Tom pulls out an envelope. "Found these while cleaning out Ryan's childhood room." Inside are photos. Ryan as a boy, already learning to perform, to hide behind the perfect smile. The last photo shows him at 12, holding a trophy but looking lost, desperate for approval. "I should have seen it then," Tom says quietly. "Maybe if I had—" "We can't live in maybes," I interrupt, sliding the photos back. "Only in truth." He nods, understanding. As he leaves, I notice his shoulders are straighter, unburdened by the weight of perfection. Mark starts setting up for opening, the familiar routine grounding me in the present. Through the window, I watch the city wake up, its rhythms unchanged by the dramas that unfold within it. "You never told him about the baby," Mark observes, not really a question. "Some truths aren't meant as weapons," I reply, thinking of Ryan in his cell, still believing he'd controlled the narrative of our marriage. Let him keep that last illusion. My hand rests on my stomach, where new truth grows. Not a replacement for what was lost, but a different kind of perfection. One built on honesty, even when it hurts. The morning light catches my bare ring finger as I help Mark prep the bar. No more golden bands, no more perfect lies. just real life, with all its beautiful, messy truth. And somehow, that's enough.